Surviving in Abiotic Factor can be hard, so I'm going to give you a bunch of tips for surviving your first week on the new job in the facility. And I'm not just going to do what a lot of the other guides on YouTube are telling you to do, which is changing your game settings to make it a bit easier. You can do this if you like, but I'm just going to be diving straight into the game with the default settings, so we can spend less time faffing around in menus and more time just playing the game. Welcome back to the channel everyone, my name is Kane, and today we're going to be looking at Abiotic Factor. If you haven't heard of this game yet, it's a new genre of game called survival. Yes, another survival game, but Abiotic Factor is better because they've done one big thing differently. That's right, PlayStation 1 graphics. But jokes aside, Abiotic Factor is a great game. It's so addictive and it has a lot of charm.
Okay, you're the transfer, huh? You sure picked a day.
However, it can be pretty damn hard to not die in your first week. So let's cover some survival basics such as combat, resource gathering, making food, and of course Olympic diving. If you like the sound of this, please do consider subbing to the channel because I'll be making tons more content just like this. But otherwise, let's dive into the video.
So, ready for your first day?
So on your first night in the facility, I would recommend just exploring the place before setting up your base, because the chances are you're going to find a better place than where you first think you want to stay. Whilst you're exploring, do collect as many resources as you can. You're going to be crafting a bunch of stuff early on. Before getting through these cafeteria doors, I personally set up a crafting bench near a power station here, and then dropped all of my resources next to the crafting bench. This way I had more space in my inventory so I could keep exploring and filling my inventory with more stuff. Once through the cafeteria doors, I personally settled here in the gym, mainly because it has a pool, a dance studio, and an NPC to keep us company. But most importantly, it had a huge locker room for storage, it had a kitchen with a fridge, and even an ensuite toilet. The gym isn't the most protected area though, there are lots of openings for creatures to come down by. So I like to use nearby furniture to create some barricades. You can craft proper barricades, but honestly they don't really last very long. Crafting traps is probably the best way to keep things protected in your base. Food and drink will be a little scarce early on. You can use the vending machines to see you buy if you need to, but I'd recommend crafting a water bottle as soon as you can, and also start stocking up on radioactive hedgehog meat as soon as you can too. Leveling your cooking skill will unlock soups, which will make managing food a bit easier. Keep any extra food that you have in your fridge, and pick up a couple of pans whilst you explore. This way you'll be able to cook multiple meats at once, on either a portable hob or on a stove if you set up your base near a stove. Or if your character's vegan, you should grab some of these tomato seeds and craft some garden plots to get them planted as soon as you can. A couple of good soup recipes are the bland pea soup for something super simple, or pet goulash.
They're eating the dogs!
I mean pest goulash, as it just needs meat from the little ones. To get salt, just check kitchen cabinets around the facility, it's fairly common. Do be warned though, these soups do go straight through you, so I would recommend setting up near a toilet to prevent any awkward accidents. Once you have some weapons and armor, you'll also be getting more meat than you can handle. When it comes to combat, in your first week, these nets are pretty OP early on. You can easily catch the squirrel things and one-stomp them to kill them. And they even work on the dog things too. However, my favourite trap is probably the slushy bomb, which I personally find really fun to use. And as you can see in the clip, we made easy work of Dr. Strange out here in the Antiverse place. For my weapon, I found the spear quite easy to use. I could easily kite things around a lot, and it also staggers things when thrown for easy kills. If you craft a couple of these, you'll be able to throw them from distance, and you won't need to run over to pick them up every time. I'd also recommend crafting armor as soon as you unlock it. You can make a makeshift chest plate with cloth tape and a filing cabinet, the arm and leg wraps out of magazines and books, and a helmet after killing Cujo. You'll find a lot of replacement chest pieces around the facility. However, a lot of your other weapons and armor are probably going to need repairing quite a lot. If you're wondering where these damn anvils to get your repair bench made, you're not alone. It took me quite a while to find them myself. If you've been a good employee, however, and you've been checking your emails regularly, you'll have found out that they're in a storage room next to Silo 3. The emails in this game can give really valuable information, and if you click the image attachments in the emails, you'll often be given a new recipe too. But yeah, if you do find your emails too spammy, now you know. Just head to storage room next to silo 3 and you'll find some anvils, along with some new resources too, like screws. To get to the storage room, you will need to go through the portal, and once you've got the anvil, you'll be able to set up your repair bench. Make sure to stock up on the resources required for the repairs for your particular armor and weapons, as it's quite annoying if you run out and you can't repair your gear. Also, you can repair your crafting bench and other furniture if it gets damaged by whacking it with a hammer. I found this particularly helpful after this fateful night. Without giving too much away here, when you see this message, you should either try to stay away from your base, otherwise things are going to get a bit messy. If you can't avoid going to your base, make sure to set up some defenses and be prepared to defend your stuff with your life. Again, the slushy bombs can make this a lot easier, and the electric traps are great too. The electric traps do require coils and energy bricks, which you're going to need a lot of early on in this game. So if you craft a bunch of these, it'll benefit you in the long run. Gathering resources can be a pain in this game, like I mentioned earlier, because of the limited backpack space. So here's some things that I personally found helpful when gathering resources. Obviously, always make the biggest backpack that you can once you unlock them. Also, when you set out to explore the facility, I found it helpful to have a particular goal in mind. If it's to craft electric traps, for example, then just head to a place with all of the electronic parts, like the office here, and focus on just getting those parts. You can come back from any other resources later on when you need them. When gathering these computer parts, I like to use a blunt weapon, like the desk leg here, and make sure I hit the computer and monitor at the same time to break them down faster. The leg will break pretty fast doing this, but then you can just break another desk to get another desk leg. I prefer to do this than using my weapon to break these things, so that I don't have to repair my weapon as often. This method is pretty efficient. And if you can't find certain resources, or you can't be bothered to go look, you can craft some of the subcomponents in the crafting menu, so make sure to check that out too. Once you've got all of these new resources, your inventory and your storage is going to get pretty out of control pretty fast. This is why I set up my base near the gym locker room, so that I can store things easily in each of the lockers. I recommend setting up storage like this as well, and labeling everything with signs, which requires wood and pens, which you'll find tons of around the office. This will save you tons of times in the long run trying to remember where all of your stuff is. And if you're playing multiplayer, your friends will love you for this too. Speaking of which, if you have found this video helpful so far, please do send it that way to help them out too. Some final little tips for surviving your first week on the job is packaging up a bunch of water coolers and bringing them back to your base. This will save you lots of trips for more water, especially if you're growing plants, because you're going to need to keep these topped up with water to make sure that they grow. You'll actually be able to refill these at a water source and filter out the dirty water once you unlock the water filter later on. Also, these robots are not friendly, and they're also pretty smart. I couldn't get one to fall into the pool despite my best efforts. These AI are just getting so out of control, honestly. And don't be scared by their intimidation tactics either. Look at this guy just standing outside of my base. He genuinely would not leave. In your first week, I would probably recommend trying to avoid these, though you will have to beat one later on to get into Silo 3. I even recruited Cujo to give me a hand, but didn't really end well for Cujo. And the final tip, feed your dog.
Oh, that reminds me. I borrowed your stapler earlier.
Thanks for watching, everyone. I hope you all have an easier time surviving your first week on the job in the facility now, or at least feel mildly entertained. If you have enjoyed the video, please give it a like, and consider subscribing to the channel for more abiotic? I really have a hard time saying that word. For more abiotic goodness. But that's me signing off for today, so take it easy, and I'll catch you all in the next one.